Pleasers and pleasers, how are we today?
Tired, but excited.
Welcome to our show Checkpoint, where we discuss and discern the current events of the most recent episode of Check Please. And today we are discussing our Campaign 1 finale. So I would love to welcome our members today. I am Keni, your fortunate host. Foaly as my co-host, gleaming in the moonlight.
Hello.
Skrewy, put in your headphones. Xeno, our swamp witch swarm monger.
Hey!
Beardy, our daddy DM.
Hi.
And Skrewy, our rock hard holy man who's putting in his headphones.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was like, why can't I hear myself? Is it coming through Xeno? No, that's not the green light that's going on.
Why are you hearing yourself? Why are you hearing yourself? Why are you hearing yourself?
I don't know. It's probably the mental illness.
Oh no.
The mental illness. Or the mental illness.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Dash of mental illness.
Well, hey everybody. We did it. Campaign over.
Whoa!
We didn't die. Yay.
Mostly.
That's
Always
right.
good thing.
Nobody important died.
Nobody important
Nobody
died.
important died. Sorry, Skrewy.
I mean,
Skrewy, we love you.
technically all of your characters, maybe minus one, are going to die at some point. I mean,
It's
I mean,
true.
technically all of your characters will die because the universe has a finite end date. So, you know.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
if I can help it.
Oh, thanks, Sol.
You're welcome.
Well, where shall we begin? I mean, at the beginning sounds like a good idea.
That
The
is
previous,
the
Great place to start.
right? The previous episode, we had got pulled into the battle taking place in Prota, and a familiar face had been looming over us, and I know that there were some theories as to who this familiar face would belong to, but opening up in this episode, we find out that, hey, it's our friend, enemy, frenemy, Cassius.
Murderer.
Cassius, murderer.
Man, we accepted him in so easily.
Yeah.
Kind of did.
I think my favorite theory though as to who that was going to be was Faustus, because it was like I love the idea
Was
of.
it Skrewy? It sounds like
I
a
think it was
Skrewy
Screw's
answer.
idea. Yeah, I love the idea that someone thought Faustus would haul his fat ass onto a battlefield to defend the city.
Would have been fun.
That is just like
I didn't
thank you
say
for the
he
total
would
misunderstanding of that character.
I wouldn't say he would have hauled himself. I figured he'd be
Oh, he would have
on
been like born on a litter.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'd have
Yeah.
been watching, like holding up scorecards. Ooh, good sword thrust. 10.
Ooh, well struck.
Now put some chocolate icing on it.
Oh my god.
Character.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that was lovely though. It was
So-
great fun to see Cassius. It was wonderful to see Silverquill return.
Yes.
For sure.
Reprise his character.
I was very excited. I also had to unfortunately know ahead of time since I do all the preparation for like OBS and stuff. So the stat cards had to be updated. So unfortunately, the secret was spoiled for me like a while ago.
Such is life.
It's the job of the producer.
Yeah,
like
it is the burden of production.
yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to know secrets, and I'm just gonna have to be good and not say a word.
And yeah,
Bravo.
well done on
You
that.
did- yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Silverquill was able to swing by, reprise the character, that was fantastic. And we certainly needed, I would say, and is it fair to say that we needed the backup? Because that was... We're faced with a fucking great big necromancer swooping in on an undead dragon. I want all hands on deck for that, including the level 20 plus Oread who killed Petravian, even though he killed Petravian.
One could say the only one who maybe didn't actually have to be there was Chisel.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
rub salt
yeah,
in the wound.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
He
it's a
probably
true
didn't.
statement.
Like, I don't think he could have done much damage.
I mean, he couldn't hit any of the lost souls.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Nope. The
He's
only
not
thing he would have
magical.
been for me, had he had full health, I would have slapped Sky Steed on him and gone up and tried to smite Marcus straight away.
Well, he followed in Marcus's steps and became a crispy chicken
It-
nugget.
It's dying.
That was tragic. But I mean, yeah, we're surrounded by the undead. Lost souls coming in. The poor soldiers, the poor protean soldiers who have died fighting off the undead are coming back like that. as the undead, so that's some creepy fucking scenery, some creepy imagery. Then yeah, we start mixing it up with the Lost Souls, and Skrewy, Chisel's death there.
Chisel goes
Yeah.
to the Great Farm with his friends. We can't tell
For
you the
one
address.
round, and then he comes back.
I
So dead.
I felt awful because I know that you were wanting some Breath of Life action, and had it been within one round, yeah, Curler could have brought them back, but only if their con hadn't dropped below a certain limit.
Well, yeah, like, unfortunately, almost everyone was about to die, so
Yeah.
Chisel was
Yeah.
not priority at that point. I would
If
rather
it's-
the majority of us live over
Yes.
Chisel.
Yeah.
'Cause about half the
Um,
party was under the effect of a hold spell and were unable to move, and would have been unable to move for multiple rounds. And it was due to a miracle spell being cast that ended that, and that was done in lieu of the Breath of Life. So I mean, I feel like there was some math there, and I think that was the correct answer. So
I mean, yeah.
Like,
I
your
wish-
your -1 to attack and damage really isn't that big of a deal.
No, it is
Like,
purely.
You were talking and you were like, I'm getting a minus to this, and I was like, bitch, we gon' die. I don't think your minus matters
at the
right
time.
now.
At the time,
It
I
seemed
was.
like a very big deal to you, I know.
It was.
The emotional harm is an aspect. You can't quantify the emotional damage.
Oh, just spend time with a teenager. You'll get all the emotional harm you need.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Like-
there was
like we got in the chat. What Skrewy's character is rotten luck with fire lava from Palm.
That's true.
yeah,
Fair
that's
point,
very
actually.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, fire's pretty bad for everybody in general.
what made it like particularly striking there
Except
was
for
the fact that
tieflings.
That's true.
Chisel went down in this battle but didn't have to be there, because for the first time Petravian gave him the choice of being there or not, and he's stuck by you. So if anyone deserves to be on the heroes page on the wiki, shameless plug, it's Chisel.
So,
He had your back.
I probably would have done something different, and this is not saying what you did is wrong. It's just based on how I see the world.
Mhm.
I probably if I was Petravian and I called him like one last time while we were in Presidium, I would have been like, "Hey, you're free," and then just let him go.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have done that because, like, based on seeing like Chisel in combat the last few times, I'm like, yeah, this bitch can't do anything to these little ghosty bros. just set him free.
I mean, if there were Skelly Bros, though, then he could have done
Maybe
something.
if they were Skelly bros, but we're dealing with ghosty bros.
Yeah.
If there
The
was,
Skelly Bros and more like corpseified enemies were fighting the Protean soldiers. The
if
only
we
ones
had,
that were coming toward you guys were the
Those-
stronger spiritual enemies. Yeah.
if we had like
Yeah.
Skelly Bros, Skelly Daddies, Square Wolves,
Mhm.
Werewolves.
all those
gotta,
things.
Gotta watch out
I
for the
missed-
werewolves.
I was
Yeah.
sad there was not one single square wolf.
That you saw. I mean, it was a big battlefield.
Marcus
Maybe there's one or
isn't,
two snuck in the back.
Marcus isn't powerful enough to summon Square Wolves.
I kinda
Square
feel
wolves
like
serve no master.
They just
There
kind of
was-
pop up.
there was a slight tone of that, though. It wasn't in those words, but it kind of felt like giving Chisel the choice to kind of stay.
Oh, I
with you
understand the
or
choice
go
was there, but I would have been like, you're free. This is my choice
more explicit.
to like
Yeah,
let you go.
interesting.
And then he
that's
can
just
show
how
up
I would've
later.
Played it. That's all. That's what I would have done. Obviously, that's not what happened, but that's like
Yeah.
how I play things. With
I like that you both
little
have these
bit-
different
little bit of
approaches.
tactics.
And then he could have showed up. You're right, Xeno. He could have shown up like a bot, come out of the
That
portal
would have
and
been cool.
Like Endgame. Bow, bow,
Yes.
da, da, da. Norts.
and then he opens his mouth and goes, "Plew."
I can't
Anyway.
wait for
Horde
the
of Flu.
finale. Not the finale. The campaign checkpoint where I get to
Yes.
fucking ask what the fuck happened to Blue.
Which also, we skipped over the fact that, we mentioned it slightly, but we had two people straight up almost die.
That's
They were
true.
both, I think Petra and Vera were both
Mm-hmm.
in the negatives.
Yeah, in the low
Uh,
negatives. So it was like it reduced them right to where they weren't dead, but they were gonna die. So it was
I'm-
very close calls there.
I
Yep.
did cast that Blaze of Glory, so that brought me back from negatives.
That
Yeah.
was nicely done. Yeah, you got in some great healing in that battle,
Yeah.
Petravian. I was really impressed by that. I was
When the
thrilled by that.
paladin come in clutch for healing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Oh,
works
the level
thematically
20
too, because it's
paladin.
all about yay, Petravian is more than just a hammer. He's
A
doing
cudgel.
more healing. Yay.
Yeah, he's also a cudgel.
Yeah.
But that max healing on mass
Oh, that's
channel.
right. Oh, that's so good.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
I
a
just-
phenomenal capstone.
I just enjoyed watching Beardy's face. He's like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, because like it's the very last line in a paragraph. It's like, oh, by the way, also maximizes healing on channel energy. It's like, okay.
That was very nicely done.
Like I went in there, changed the code, and
It
All right,
is.
it just heals for 60. All right.
Honestly, I am curious what the story is behind this like undead dragon though. Like where did
Yeah.
Marcus
Yeah.
find this dragon, this red dragon? I don't remember facing a red dragon in this
Like,
game.
Would
Like, I would
should I
have.
answer that this session or should I answer that?
No.
in
tell
the
me,
final-
Tell me now.
Yeah,
Tell you now?
It pertains
Okay.
to this session.
Tell me
so,
the
yeah.
story
Sure.
of the red dragon.
So I'll tell you the story. So random dragon, he actually has a proper name, which I will pull the server up to get because it was somewhat. So anyway, so Marcus takes his undead armies, and he's waging his revenge war against Proto, and he's been pushing north and west across the countryside of Proto as he's been succeeding in every major battle and like putting down legions and re-raising them as his own forces and just generally being a real shit of a pain to them. And along the way, there's this mountain chain on the southern side of Proto that sort of separates the more grasslands and plains of Proto from the dense jungles of Koth. And in those
Okay.
mountains, there are a lot of dragons, specifically red dragons living there. It's kind of a volcanically active chain of mountains, and red dragons tend to like to live in and around volcanoes because they're pretty much immune to fire damage, and they find it to be, one, comfortable, and two, a good source of natural defenses because people don't usually, fuck around with lava. So, yeah. So, as he was moving through the area, one of the red dragons that live in those mountains decided, actually, it was more than one. It was quite a few. Decided, hey, fuck this guy. They're fucking up my territory here because, they prey upon anyone around them. They'll ask for tribute or take slaves or whatever it is that they feel like, because red dragons are fairly terrible when it comes to just their outlook about people in the world. They're incredibly self-serving, incredibly self-interested. So they're seeing this lich just going through and just burning out a big swath of what they consider to be their area of influence. They got pissed about, so they went down there to confront him, and he killed basically all the ones that fought him, and he raised that one to ride into battle. And its name was Norgog. The mini's name in the game I had is Norgog the Defiled because he was raised up as a zombie. So he dead now for good.
Mm-hmm.
Rip.
But yeah, so yeah, red dragons, nasty folks, and quite a few of them died in the campaign of Marcus on Proto.
Proto is
Which
so
will-
fucking fucked.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
yeah.
Some lasting
Good.
repercussions.
That's the idea.
I'm kind of hoping that the green orcs of Koth will kind of expand their own territory now, but I guess they like the jungles.
Now the hive doesn't have to help Kodre in the revolution because it's basically solved itself.
Yeah.
My work here is done, but you did nothing.
But with the battle going on, Vera, of course, summons that giant fucking purple worm. And
Lovely
I-
to see Bob again.
Good to see Bob. Good to see Bob. Is Bob dead?
Good to see Bob.
Bob is dead.
Bob is dead.
Oh.
Just so
Long live
everyone
Bob.
knows, Bob is dead. I didn't get to say it, but Bob died on the other side of that portal.
Oh, no.
He will be reborn as another adorable worm, but
Yeah.
he is very dead.
He gave his life
Bob is
for.
He won't be able to provide for his family anymore, so they're also dead.
Mhm.
So
Oh my God, the
Yeah,
hive
his-
wouldn't provide for
Wow.
him?
His
That's
his
terrible.
family of tens of thousands of larvae,
Good
tens
lord.
tens of millions of larvae. I don't know how they reproduce. It's horrible.
you know what? They're annelids. It's not part of my reprotoire of information on
Yeah.
entomology.
All I know is it involves a
No
lot
legs.
of mucus. That's all I know.
So
Is
It was-
annelid reproduction involves mucus. That's how I'm
Xeno.
gonna stop.
Yeah.
Isn't all reproduction?
Wiggling.
I
What?
understand you summoned the worm, and I think you said you summoned it originally to get Cassius out of the ground, I believe, before Archie went digging. And I swore to God Archie was going to stab right into Cassius.
Oh,
Mhm.
I thought about it. I did.
Yeah, no. I originally started summoning Bob because I wanted to get Cassius out of the ground and also right next to Marcus, the
Mhm.
destroyer, but he was too far away, so I just let him kind of way underground. He was also going to do something else, but so during the battle, I remember Chisel had gotten reanimated and started to attack Petravian, I believe.
Which was tragic.
And then I believe next some kind of heal was put out by either Petravian or Kurla that basically disintegrated Chisel.
Oh, that was
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was me.
that
So-
was you, buddy.
So my plan right before that happened was Bob was going to come out, grab undead Chisel, and throw him at Marcus.
Oh, damn. I'm so annoyed that I fucked that up now.
No, we were dying. It's fine.
I mean, yeah, you were all dying and needed the heal, but on the other hand, elk skeleton flying at Mark. Oh.
I feel really bad during like the majority of that combat though, because I guess the dice really liked me that night. I had saved enough from the previous battle. Originally, I was trying to save 8 so that I could like crit on disintegrate for Marcus, but unfortunately, I had to use it so that I didn't nat 1 and take more damage than I needed to in certain situations. So unfortunately, I was a little more self-serving with my future points. But most of the Lost Souls did not aim for me at all. Like, the dice did not pick me once, and I was like,
Yeah.
it must be the wind.
I was going for random targeting, and
Chisel, Petravian, Chisel.
Yep,
I
Tom
mean, I got-
pointed out, Chisel got a lot of negative attention from Marcus.
oh yeah.
And the dice.
So I think it's canon. Marcus just hates elk.
I'm in for it.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's the only explanation.
But Purple Worm was clutch in, like, both points that you had him in for the episode. So
Yeah.
I love that you've brought this spell into the world more and more.
Oh, 100%.
RSVP Bob.
And I
A hero through and through.
I did my best to avoid the Dune references. I want it on record. They came from other people,
I
not
know.
from me
Yep,
this
they
time.
came
I
from me.
know.
Yeah.
I can't fight the DM.
They,
was
they
all me.
came from the DM in chat
In chat, yeah.
and Riken in the
Yeah.
chat talking about desert power.
Ah.
It's like you know how every time you say you don't believe in fairies, a fairy dies. It's kind of like a part of my soul dies every time someone makes a reference.
Someone talks about Shai Hulud and how his passing will cleanse the world.
What the fuck did you just say? Did I have a stroke?
See, y'all keep going with the Dune references, and all I'm sitting here is thinking about graboids.
Like, you're going
That's
so
a
far
bad
into
reference.
the Dune references. I think you guys are just making yourselves like look old then.
Oh, we are old.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Yeah.
realize the
Yeah,
books
that's the
came out
thing, we
before
are.
we were born, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like old people read Dune.
Hold
Wow.
on. When
Yeah,
was the
that's
original
it.
Dune?
You got it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That is how
Frank
I knew
Herbert
that
is only
book.
for old people.
Nope.
Frank Herbert's
You're in here
I'm
for
older.
folks.
I'm actually older than Dune.
What was the release date?
84.
Yeah. Well, I'm not.
That's
So
not
fuck
right.
you.
The film, yes.
Yeah, I'm older than the movie
No,
Dune.
no, no.
Okay.
We're talking
Well,
about
no.
the book, though, honey.
Oh, the book.
Oh.
Okay.
Honey, the
Oh,
book,
the
the thing that
book.
came before
Yeah.
the movies.
Yeah, but who's read that?
Hold on.
Yeah, who read that in middle school? This
Old
guy.
people.
Who
I
reads
was
that
busy
pretty much once a
reading
year?
Warrior Cats.
Nice. While you were reading Warrior Cats, I was reading Dune.
We are not the same.
No. There are sex and war plots in Warrior Cats, and I will go into it.
There's sex in
there's
Doom, but
sex
it
and war
involves
plots in Dune.
What?
I mean,
it involves an adult beef swelling, the way Frank Herbert writes it. So.
Jesus Christ.
yeah,
That's
there was
right,
rat
Mom.
milking and everything.
Pom gets me. Pom gets me. Me and
What
Pom,
book?
we're like this.
Oh my god! All right. We've talked a little bit about Riz's disintegrate spells, which was fantastic. You got some great damage in there.
Yep, I saved 3 just for this battle.
Nice.
Well, I
Um,
saved 2 for the battle. One
I
for
was
another
curious-
thing.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was curious what was going on with Marcus's shielding spell, because he was throwing some
Yeah,
really interesting
what
spells at
spell
us,
was
but he
that?
also had a fascinating defensive spell going on. So what was that with that, Beardy? What was
So
what
he
was that
had
spell?
a
How did it
spell
work?
shield that effectively was blocking so many levels of spells. So like if you struck him with say a 7th level spell, it would take his spell shield and reduce it by 7. So
Okay.
he had an arbitrary amount of spell levels that he rolled for at the beginning of the battle, and once he had absorbed that many spell levels, it would have shattered the spell shield. So you guys broke it with I think 3 casts on him.
That
Sure.
felt. I
'Cause
was-
you threw like a couple of 7s at him,
Yeah,
and I
we
think
did
from
a-
that.
Firestorm at least, and then
Yeah.
we did a. What did Curly use?
the mass heal extended,
hmm
and I. It feels self-centered to say, but I just felt very happy in that moment because it was the first time I had combined those two, the extend feat and
hmm
the mass heal,
Yeah.
and the fact that it took out lost souls and kept everyone alive and cracked his shield. I was like, yes, fine, yay! I can feel good about this moment, yay! So
That's
it made
good.
me happy.
Yeah. I was actually waiting for the shield to break before I started on my disintegrate because I was like, I could go for him right away, but then we found out about that shield and I was like, better not. Better
Yeah.
save that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wait till you know that shield's gone.
Because I was like, I'm not wasting disintegrate just for a shield to fucking go away. The fucking bitch. I'm sad I never got to use any of my power words though. Or feeble
Neither did
mind.
Marcus.
I figured he had some. I figured we had very similar spells, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that he didn't throw out more necrotic spells, being original.
Well, he had
Yeah,
them.
I was surprised by that
He
too.
just didn't have a lot of chance to use much of his stuff. Because he thought that it would be a better use of his abilities to heal the dragon. But 200 HP was not enough to keep that dragon up for another round.
We were
So-
kicking its ass. I mean, I particularly like the moment with Cassius and the purple worm, where Cassius was able to get to the underbelly. Am I remembering that
Mhm.
correctly?
No, the worm came out after the dragon died.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
if the dragon was still there, I would have had Bob attack the dragon's spine and just like.
Mhm.
Right. Gotcha.
Just
gotcha.
down.
Yeah,
Cassius ran and
Yeah, he did an acrobatics to jump.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, he did, like-
And he got just high enough to cut the underbelly of the dragon in the air.
It was
like
such an epic
56.
damn battle. It's all conflated in my head now, and it's just like a series of images of holy shit that happened.
Don't
Holy
worry,
shit
we'll
that
we'll
happened.
see it all animated someday, right?
Yes.
I like how a single attack from Cassius is like the same damage as a like 8th level spell that I can.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
gives me more respect for Petravian in terms of how long you stayed up against him in the arena. Because damn.
He was going
He
easy
was-
on Skrewy.
He was
Yeah.
toying with him. He was
I-
totally toying with him.
I know, but even
Kept
so,
healing him and was like, get up. Pick it up.
Get up so I can. Speaking of which, though, Cassius, wow, he'd become such a nice guy as a result of killing his own brother and having to reflect on that.
Well,
Yeah,
he's
that's
got
all
like
it
takes is, you know, a little bit of-
months.
Yeah, he had a couple months in like self-discovery and soul searching and praying at a temple, and
Just a little bit of
realizing-
fraternicide.
And then his town started getting destroyed by a fucking lich. It's fine.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll help with
And
the,
he's
the
like,
growth.
You know what?
I'll mellow you
You're
out a
right.
little.
I didn't value life. Damn,
Mhm.
girl. Thanks
Yeah.
for this. And they're like, this isn't therapy. Please get out of our church.
So this is a Wendy's.
I like that we were all at the top of our game in that battle, though. We were throwing out some interesting stuff.
Also, Levette almost got killed by strength damage.
That's true.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
I mean, that was technically the previous session.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Levette with
glad
one
that the
strength point.
Oh, that's twice. That because there's also when Levette was in the mech and took 8.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That
right.
was a huge
Did-
number.
Yeah, and I think that got wiped out from a mass heal.
Mm-hmm.
that was the
Mhm.
second mass heal,
Yeah.
I think that wiped that
Otherwise,
out.
when the Dorothy suit wore off, it would have killed Levette.
Straight out.
Yeah.
But even that would have been epic just to watch animated, like the
Yeah,
vet
it's like-
crawling out of this
Oh.
destroyed.
The Dorothy suit powers down. The chest plate pops
Yes.
open and slides down. Levette looks
It's
out at
just
the world,
bones.
like reaches a hand out, grabs the side of the kind of tries to pull himself out of the cockpit, takes one breath of fresh air, looks at the sky, and then just tumbles out of the
Like,
front of the
All
device.
of her muscles are
Like-
gone.
It's
Ms.
yeah,
Baldwin?
just like a
We-
wet sack of rags,
And
just
then it's like
falls
that-
to the ground.
It's like that
We-
falling stair scene where it lasts 5 minutes.
We won, Miss Baldwin. Miss Baldwin, we won. I'm sorry.
What's
Yeah.
that from?
Oh, Mr. Stark, we won, Mr. Stark. We won.
Oh
no,
yeah, that.
no.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I have a question.
Mm.
Yes.
Was the miracle a total ass pull
What?
when it came
No.
to undoing the paralysis? Because 2/3 of the party was stuck by this paralysis.
No, it makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah, that. If you hadn't, my question was gonna be, Beardy, would I have been able to lay on hands?
No,
I couldn't activate it.
no, not
Paralyzed.
while paralyzed. No. While paralyzed, you can take no action aside from looking around.
It's a good thing Curly
Or
can't
if you
get
have,
paralyzed.
Purely
Oh, wait,
mental
no,
spellcasting
Your
ability.
curse is different now.
My curse is different now, and I could get paralyzed, but I
Oh,
wasn't because
titties.
I
Got lucky.
Yeah.
managed
You
my
made the
save
save.
on that one. But
Yeah.
it's mechanically, it's within the spell's purview without needing the. It's kind of a lesser miracle versus a greater miracle. I think those two spells should actually be separate.
So you're gonna tell the chat what your spell is now, but with the cat thing?
I was still reflecting on the miracle, but
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Sorry, that's the next thing in the
Meow!
list.
Like
the
me-
miracle
mecha-
that we want is to know what that cat
Yeah.
spell was.
mechanically it falls within its purview as a lesser miracle, but story wise I was hoping it didn't come out of nowhere. But on the other hand, it does kind of speak to being more okay with divine intervention and such. So okay, fine. The cat thing, it's going to be very disappointing at this stage.
I already know where it
It's
is.
It's not all
I
that
don't.
interesting. There is
No.
a spell called 9 Lives,
Mhm.
and one
That's
it
fun.
gives you various re-rolls, or you can pull yourself back up if you fall and not have to do, or you could. It's just advantageous. It's like luck. There you get 9 different uses of luck in one way or the other, and one of
like
those
it.
is called Cat's Grace. So 9 Lives, Cat's Grace. You can kind of feline theme it, and I decided that since Curler casts all of their stuff on instinct, sometimes they know how to throw a spell out correctly, and sometimes they're just making it up as they go along. For some reason, it works. So for whatever reason, Curler thinks that the best way, or the only way to cast this spell, is to go meow, or nico nico nee, or make an ass of themselves. I think it speaks to something in Curler about wanting to be sillier
I
and
don't
cuter.
think that's a problem. I just wanted the chat to be able to know what the fuck the spell was, because you were so secretive about it.
It
And
wasn't
I was
meant
like,
to be a
this
big
doesn't feel
thing.
very fair to not tell us at this
No,
point.
I
We're
was-
at the end of campaign. Just tell us the
I-
fucking spell.
I am happy to tell them it was never meant to be a big thing. I just thought it was funny because you wouldn't expect that level of silliness from Curler, and I enjoyed throwing that in there.
Also, Pom, I think Levette almost dies of strength damage every week.
Like she wakes up
Yeah.
and she has strength damage for some reason.
She wakes up like, "Oh, I can't get up."
I feel
That's getting older for you.
Five
But-
strength is definitely something that's troubling, and I think we stayed up really late last night just talking about the campaign, and I think one of the things that Grim said was that like he was amazed that Levette survived from levels 1 to 20 with 5 strength. never died from that.
Shout out to Grem and Levette and Archie though for everything they've done in the campaign. Hey Grem, sorry that you're not here for this.
He will be
but-
here for the campaign
Yes.
checkpoint that we will have in a couple weeks.
But how about that killing blow from Archie on the dragon, just snapping the damn neck?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty badass.
Good.
Just
I'm not
splitting
misremembering that
bitch.
moment, am I?
I don't think he snapped his neck. He grabbed his mouth and like
Did he not
jaw,
crack the
and
body?
then like took the sword and like cleaved him in half.
I
I'm pretty
cleaved him,
sure.
yes.
Decapitated it. Yeah.
Because he had the 4 arms, so 2 of them were
Yeah,
gripping
and
them,
then
and one of them
the
was
neck reared
decapitated.
back and was spraying fire up into the air.
Yes,
Yeah.
Gotta love that shit.
that was awesome.
Beardy,
But then yes.
can I ask about the sword, please?
Sure, yeah. What about the sword?
Is the sword cursed?
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Pride's Edge is it's an incredibly cursed weapon.
And the gauntlet?
Ask me, no, Gauntlet's fine.
Oh,
Ask me the next question though about that sword.
what is the curse?
Well, it whispers constantly in your ear about how you need to dominate the world around you because you are better than everyone else, and how you need to basically control and dominate and make everyone else serve your interests because you are the best and you are the strongest. It basically builds up your ego to such a degree that it turns you into a monster.
And how does that affect the vets?
Well, it doesn't affect Archie at all because Archie had no soul at the time.
Well, what
So-
about after?
I mean, Archie wasn't using it after.
I was just curious.
So, like, it straight up was a complete luck out because, like, Archie was completely unaffected by it.
I thought for sure Archie would have kept it. And
I mean, it's
We'll just hide
possible
it
that
over
it becomes a problem later, but
I was.
at least for that point, up until the point where Archie gets a soul, completely ineffective against Archie. Now, after that point, it's possible Archie picks up the sword again and becomes corrupted by it. And by the next campaign, Archibald is a lot different than you are all familiar with. So that would be interesting.
Oh dear.
If Pride's Edge ends up
you went
damning the entire vet race into becoming villains.
I clearly was not thinking widely enough when I logicked my way into, well, why would the King of the Giants use cursed items? Surely they're not cursed. And hey, we ran a check, so they're not cursed. They were all fucking cursed then, were they?
Almost. The shield was fine.
Vindicated.
The shield was fine, but the sword and also the locket, brooch,
Amulet.
The
It was like
amulet, that's
it's
the
like a
word.
big stone tablet with some symbols on it that you wear around your neck.
It was
I
it was
called it.
super useful
Yeah.
to use. That's the
Oh,
why
yeah.
I kept wearing it.
It gives the user +4 to all ability scores.
Once you turn evil.
Yeah, after you've turned your character's alignment to evil, which is what Riz had been for the last couple of sessions.
Damn.
I called
So-
it though.
So if you notice,
Yes,
Riz
Skrewy, we
being
hear you. You can stop
Hold
it.
Hold it! God damn it!
You have been acknowledged. Are you happy? Are you happy
Yes, I am.
So if you noticed, Riz acting a little bit different in the last couple of sessions.
now? I've tried to make it
was
very
evil.
subtle because I
Mhm.
don't think it was only one shift down. It wasn't like good to evil or anything like that.
It was neutral to
um,
evil.
What did
so-
you do differently?
So I was far more honest. Instead of Riz being patient, they were far more quick to be like, "All right, I'm done with the conversation. I'm leaving."
Okay.
They were more sexual.
because sex is
Is
evil.
evil.
Sex is
Yeah.
evil. Yeah,
Wow.
you did it.
Damn.
They were more like outwardly talking about their sex. Before that was more like a closed door, like, I'm gonna spend some time with Jiro. And so they're like, no, I'm gonna fuck this boy. So like you could see them like kissing him more often, like just openly, and that was more of a private thing for them before.
I love that is part of evil for you.
Yep.
That's great.
PDA is evil.
Oh my god.
We truly live in a repressed society.
You fucking do as well. Ooh.
Oh, I'm glad that Vera did not get that item then.
I know, right?
Ooh.
You at chaotic evil.
Petra.
Yeah, chaotic evil would have
No,
been rough.
I don't think it would have been good for Skrewy to get that amulet because I don't think you can RP evil subtly. You've already done it
Oh, we
once.
tried that once,
Yeah,
and
it
it
didn't
didn't
go well.
work.
Fair
You-
point.
You blew your load in a fucking second.
I did.
A slow
I
burn.
did.
A slow burn. Yeah.
I did. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Yeah, no. I didn't know how to play his character evil, subtly evil. To be fair, I mean, to be fair, if it's just an alignment change,
That's true.
it's just my it just what. I'm sorry, buddy.
So
But in all honesty, like when talking to Thess, instead of being like, "Hey, can I have like a vacation, an extended one after this is done?" Instead, they're like, "I'm going to take an extended vacation." Like they were just very obvious about like their
Mhm.
wants, and we're like, "This is what I'm doing. You can't stop me."
Yeah.
So that was kind of how I went with Riz. So it seemed subtle. I wanted to make sure that it still seemed like in Riz's character because it's just a small change, really. But yeah, no, they've been evil for the past several episodes.
and thanks
Yeah,
to a
that
will
ex-
save,
That explains something.
Riz was able to fight back and remove that amulet and then destroy it.
Good times,
You
great
saved-
America.
Save the disintegrate for that. Nicely done.
The last one, yes.
The last one, because the previous one, you want to talk about the previous one and what it had done once it was.
The first one I did was a dragon.
Yes.
I got him pretty far down, I think. Then
Mhm.
Marcus healed him, and I was like, God fucking damn. I was so mad.
Yeah. Now you know how it feels.
It's okay. I was hoping, I didn't realize that undead were so unaffected by so many things, because I was going to try to, like, power word blind at some point, but you know what? We didn't get there. I needed to be, like, working on everyone's, like, all the lost souls pretty much with my spells half the time, so it's fine.
Mhm.
But Petravian's hammer throws were before my disintegrate, so I'd rather Skrewy talk about like his definitely necessary like
Yes.
floral ranged fighting.
Because his shield went down. He healed himself, I believe.
It's a floral
Yes.
arrangement.
It was pretty.
Shield went down. He healed himself. He got hit with more healing that harmed him from me, and then Petravian, you stepped in with a hammer throw. He was also being grappled and bitten and so forth
Yeah.
as well.
Also fresh off of chisel dying.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Petravian,
Which
mad with
beforehand,
grief.
before that, he takes out the Eden amulet and sporting the amber antlers.
That's cool.
The +5 natural armor, bite attack, which we played with the gore attack. Didn't get to use it, but still.
It was cool. It was still cool.
And yeah, the hammer throws were, I feel I would have been, I mean, aside from I would have been just doing channels, which of itself important to do. Had I not eventually got this returning hammer, and with the smite on top of it, it just cut straight through, and I was very pleased that I chose to do the hammer throwing and returning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Without that, my disintegrate, with all the power I put into it, would not have killed him.
Yep, and he would have done some pretty nasty stuff on his next round had he survived.
What was he planning on doing on his next round?
Before you say, I do want to applaud everyone, because everyone was so involved in that battle and so crucial in that battle. That battle could not have gone off the way it did if everyone had not been there kicking ass with bringing their A game. So, well done, everyone.
Yeah, it was a true team effort on the party side.
Okay, now tell us.
Yes, now tell us,
So,
please.
I mean, also like one thing we hadn't mentioned yet that was also critically important to you guys succeeding was Levette casting Dimensional Anchor,
That's true.
Yes.
because otherwise Marcus could have fled. Like when things got bad, he could have just teleported himself back to one of his sanctums and just healed himself and started this whole thing over again. But because he was anchored there, he could not teleport away. So
GG
good move
Levette.
on that.
Very
Good
nicely
job.
done.
But yeah, had he survived another round, he would have cast Greater Possession and just taken one of your character's bodies.
Ooh.
Whose? I'm curious.
Yeah, who would have
Uh,
you picked? Would you have rolled randomly, or would you have done it
I
based on?
probably would have rolled randomly among the stronger of the party at the time, but I
Cassius.
feel like he would have taken over Cassius's body,
Oh god.
Interesting.
and then you guys
Yeah,
would have
that
been
would
forced,
have been
you would have been
decimating
forced to kill Cassius again.
We've never killed him.
if we could.
Yeah, again. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, the first time because he's an
How would
incredibly powerful
the
character. So, yeah, and
how
then
would the possession work?
what's that?
How does the-
Basically, he casts Greater Possession. His body becomes incorporeal. He flies into the target, and the target gets a will save. And if the target fails the will save, his soul is consumed by the
damn.
the
Shit.
possessor, and the
Fuck.
body becomes basically a puppet that the possessor now can run around with. And then when he's done with it, he pops out, and the body just is a corpse at that point
And there's no soul to resurrect, so.
because he's eaten it. Yeah.
Oh.
That
Yeah,
would have
so
been
like I said,
no.
had he had one more round, it would have been very bad because it would have meant one of the party would have died. One of the players' characters, whether that was you guys or Cassius. would
And
have
in
gone out.
another timeline, perhaps Petravian would have had to have killed his brother.
Yeah, and I think that would have been poetic. It would have rhymed.
Very. Wow.
For poetry.
Nah, I'm glad they got to, be brothers at the end of the day.
That was sweet.
But everything absolutely worked out in the favor of the party. The exact right amount of damage was done by the exact right people at the exact right time.
I wanted him to know who it was.
And then you got him down to the whopping massive amount of -12, so it was just enough to drop him. So
That was
like
also
all
the
of those
evil part.
all of those big hits just got him right exactly where he needed to go. So it wasn't like you way blew him away. Like it was just exactly the right amount.
With
And
the-
it
grace
was
of
a
the
good battle
gods.
then, I think, by the standards that you've set out in the past, in that it wasn't horribly unbalanced. It could have gone either way, and everyone got a chance to do something cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
could have
so
gone way worse, to be honest. We
yeah,
got
so
lucky.
like basically if it I think I've said that before, but every battle should have a moment where you feel like you're going to lose.
Hmm.
And every battle should have a moment where each character feels like, or each player feels like their character got to do something really awesome. And the best kinds of battles are the ones where those two things happen and then everybody gets to walk out alive. So I think that based on my personal metrics of a successful fight, I think it was a good one.
Oh, and Xeno, thank you, and thank Vera for the negative energy defense. That was
Yeah.
that was a brief
Mhm.
and quiet moment, but a really cool one that I really enjoyed.
It didn't really get to do much with it because once again, not much negative energy was used against the party. It was used mostly for healing.
Even
But
so,
I knew that of all the people that needed to survive, Kurla did because Kurla needed to seal away Marcus.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yay, that was a nice. I liked that moment.
Yeah.
It was a good character moment as well as a good strategic tactical moment.
Also, I believe it's the first time I used
Yeah.
protection from energy.
Yeah.
So I got to bust out the description for that.
Nice.
So if you guys had lost that fight and we
Yeah.
had to end the campaign on the battlefield, the ending I think would have been quite a bit different. But
Tell
I think that you guys would have ended up. I would have read off some stuff about how like most of the rest of the stuff would have been about the same, aside from according to like the Eastern stuff, as far as like Vil has political problems and there's now the territories because the Deadlands are gone. Like that's done. You guys already destroyed the Deadlands, whether or not you won that last battle. But the Proto stuff would have been completely different, because at that point Proto would have become effectively a nation of the undead, and it would have spread in a effectively like this new horrible crusade against all life, pushing out from the west, moving east, conquering and destroying everything in its path. And the next campaign would be in a much different setting, where the world is kind of teetering on this horrible balance between life and death, as this necrotic empire is pushing its way out and being like held at bay by the faintest of margins by heroes on the eastern side.
I like to imagine that you'd still read off all of the pictures and then just at the end be, but none of that happened.
Yeah, but none of that happened because you all died. Losers.
What happened to the lightning
Get good,
blades?
Scrub.
I'll answer that in a couple weeks.
Okay.
So
That didn't pertain to this episode. Sorry.
I know, but I've been thinking about it for weeks. I've been so
Oh.
patient.
Also, Jiro got a nat 1 because of the
Yeah,
great
the-
spell or whatever
yeah.
it was.
My poor boy.
The bonus attack gave him a nat 1. Yeah.
So he got whiplashed by
Beautiful.
a tail.
Yeah. Overextended. Ooh.
sorry about that. Damn,
Provoked
blessing
an
of
attack of
fervor.
opportunity from the dragon and got tail whipped.
I should not have chosen to remind you of the blessing of fervor.
That's
My
fine.
bad.
It's all good.
So I mean that brings us to the act break, I believe.
Yep.
Yay, 20 minutes to absorb the fact that hey, we just kicked ass. We just won. Holy shit. What happens now?
Mm-hmm.
We go live our separate lives. Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I've forgotten the most important thing though that happened to open up this section, which I believe was Levette. No, that came later. Beg pardon. Never mind. That came later at the tavern. I'll just add that to later. So, we open back up on the battlefield, and Petravian is mourning the loss of Chisel because poor Chisel.
So, Beardy,
Hmm?
how much of improv was that from Silverquill?
Yes.
What?
The hairs.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Very
Silver
impressive
Quill
work.
just is like, by the way, let me save you guys the heartache. In a believable way.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
And I was.
It was perfect. It was
not
beautiful.
Gonna lie, I was sitting here. I was like, I'm happy I get to show the art, but part of me really wanted him to die to like have that like this meant something.
There'd be a little bit of bittersweetness to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Instead
honest.
of just like a happy ending.
And it was like,
I mean-
it would have been the perfect character to die too.
Mhm.
Like it
Yeah,
meant
and-
enough.
Yeah.
And it's like that was the thing, is like I prefer my endings to be bittersweet, but I know that my tastes are not everyone's tastes.
Yeah, I
so
know.
It's
some
kind
people just
of-
like happy endings where everybody's happy, and it's like, okay, cool, that's what we got.
It was
it's
the
kind of
Hollywood
why
ending.
Sorry.
No, God.
It's kind of why I phrased Curler's offer to try to resurrect Chisel the way I did, in that, you know, do you want me to try or do you want to let him rest now? It was more to kind of I wanted to give you the opportunity to let it be that bittersweet ending if you wanted.
Skrewy wasn't gonna do that.
But I wanted to leave it up to you, because I mean it also
Screwy
speaks
He
to the whole
loves Chisel way too fucking much, more than
Yeah.
anyone else on this entire world.
it speaks to the whole respect for death being a part of life thing that Kurt has suddenly discovered. But yes, we Petravian wanted Chisel back, and that's nice, in a way. Kind of. We couldn't leave Chisel dead. The art would have gone to waste, as you said.
Again, it was the Hollywood ending.
Yeah, he had a whole lot of elks to go and be fruitful having in the woods, so that, you know, more things can happen in the future that I'm sure we'll probably get.
Sorry,
But
I
yeah,
was just writing my next questions for the campaign
Uh,
checkpoint, because I'm just writing these questions down that I'm like, can't ask right now, but I'm gonna ask like in a couple weeks. I've got my list.
Nice.
Yeah, give it 13 days. Ask me all you want.
Well done to Silver Quill on that excellent bit of improvisation.
Yeah.
And then we got into sort of a lengthy, prolonged question about what to do with the crystal and where to take it.
I
and
understood what Graham had going on.
I was pleased that that Graham was able to do the Arcana check to verify that actually, yes, the cracks were normal and he wasn't about to break out instantly. That in fact we had sealed him correctly. Yeah, I got a little bit lost in the whole how are we going to transport to the world business.
He was just trying to have like meaning behind the action. I think it's super cool that Levette was able to like remake the MacGuffinite
Okay, yeah.
machine. I was super impressed by it. I was like, that's a good callback from season 1. I understood what was going on with that, and I know that like, as far as I understood from it mechanically, it just took more money to send more people or something is what I got from that. But like in the end, like it's not like there was ever an issue of coming back. He was just adding drama to it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I could have just sent a worm through it.
Yeah,
That's true.
just-
We could have been like way
'cause-
easier with it, but no,
Yeah, we
everyone had to
could've
go.
or just huck it through the portal and just close the portal.
No, we're not throwing it.
Nope.
not.
But it was cool to revisit that and see how far Levette's engineering acumen and abilities had come, and just all the projects that they're working on. Oh, I've solved world hunger as well in my spare time.
Nah, she just created a race that doesn't need to eat.
Actually, yeah, that does work, doesn't it? But going back to that lifeless world was cool. I say going back, I'd never been there as a player or as a character, so it was nice to get to step into that little bit from season 1.
Glarv's World.
Yeah.
I love how many callbacks there were that were meaningful, because we never would have got to use that device had it not been for a certain character's pack rat tendencies of collecting everything, including Glarv's ashes. Xeno
No.
and Vera, what's up with that?
Now I just need to use the mammoth eye goop, the primal god ichor,
Icker, yeah.
and the vampire warren dust.
Yeah.
And Levette has to sniff up that pixie dust.
Yeah.
Oh my god, let's just snort it as a line.
Yep.
I'm so glad that those cigars got smoked.
we'll get to that.
An
Yeah.
entire campaign, start
Yeah.
to finish.
It
Yeah,
was it was a shame that Bob had to die, but he gave his life, Bob the purple worm, he gave his life to make sure that that crystal not only was on the lifeless world, but was buried well under. And we talked about this a little bit before we started, but the distinction between the world being lifeless and the world being dead, because I, as a player, and Curler as well as a character, were quite concerned about,
Well,
are we sticking a necromancer on a world full of necromantic energy?
sure. So you could call the world dead as well. I think lifeless and dead in this case would have the same meaning.
Okay.
If the world is, say, suffused with necromantic energy, that would be different. That might be an undead world. So
Okay.
dead is just the absence of life,
Got
or undeath in that case. Like, you think of it as like a spectrum. So you've got on one end life, on the other end undeath, and in the middle death.
So we haven't
Which
just
is-
fed the beast.
What?
We haven't just fed the beast what he wanted.
No, not
Good.
really. No. So it's
we
just
put him smack dab in the middle of a place that has no fucking magic.
Awesome.
Yeah, like no innate magic, no life, no people.
I hope Glarv's ghosts haunt him.
Mhm.
Bitch.
Unlikely, but we'll see. So when do y'all want me to start like poking holes in your plan?
It's
Like,
campaign
immediately,
time.
or like I could do that. Do you want me to do this now, or do you want to wait till the next sesh?
Wait until Grum's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll wait till next session.
Okay,
and
what am
poke
I
some
writing
holes into
down
your
for the
plan.
question?
I'm gonna
Oh,
feel terrible because the Black Sapphire thing was like my spell, so
Yeah,
it was
like,
based around that. Oh, fuck.
Just put like future of
No.
Marcus. That's all,
Oh shit!
and I'll tell you some stuff about it.
What have I done? It seemed like a good idea at the time. Will be
Sure,
my
of
goddamn
course.
epitaph.
Absolutely.
Should we
Well-
have just killed his soul and rendered him impossible? Should we have destroyed
That's impossible.
him? Yeah.
Couldn't be done.
I mean, we could have given it to Hildy. Hildy's really good about destroying stuff.
Hildy could have tried, but Hildy couldn't have done it either.
I
What
think
about
we did-
giving going and asking now my brain can't. I had their name.
I think under the
Deadloaf.
circumstances we took the
What the fuck is
best.
with you and Detlef?
No, not Detlev. What's
Isn't
his
that
name?
what you
The no
That's what I
the
said.
Oh,
the Empress. The not Empress. The
Queen
Lich.
Matilda
Queen,
of
there we go.
Darahan.
Matilda?
Matilda. There we go.
Jesus Christ, it's after...
I can't remember.
Yes,
I had
you
the
can.
name, and
There's
then
a
it.
wiki!
Shameless plug.
The Schnookum Keeper.
Yeah, the keeper of the Schnookums.
Yeah, Madam Schnookum Holder.
Okay.
I'll be adding those as her nicknames in her info box.
So,
Um,
I actually did have, like, a plan that I was, like, totally steamrolled over because I was trying to explain it, and, like, everyone went off on directions. I was like,
Oh no, I heard you said you're going to keep a hold of it, and then you're going to like bring it with you to a different planet. right?
It was either that or, like, bring it to, like, the pantheon of the gods so they could, like, rend him.
The reason Vera didn't go with that is because that still meant that it was going to be staying on this planet for a foreseeable time.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, Riz probably would have been like, all right, I'm probably gonna finish my vacation now because it's necessary.
Well, then you wouldn't have got to live with Jiro.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, Riz didn't have to make that sacrifice. Until we find out
We'll
exactly how
see.
Beardy's going to break his
We'll
way out,
see
and then
how
we're
bad it
fucked.
was.
But if that's the way it turns out, that will be a very like human thing. Like short-term happiness was sacrificed for, or rather was you know what I mean? Like long-term stability, short-term happiness. Oh dear, humanity got in the way. Yeah, that kind of thing. Anyway,
I mean, look, you guys definitely pushed the end of the world out at least a couple generations. So be happy.
Jesus.
Wonderful.
Please tell me we did better than that. Come on.
Well, that's what. Hey, we gotta have another campaign. I mean, like, somebody's gotta save the world again.
I can't come up with that many bad guys.
Fucking
Well,
Marcus.
hey, I'm not saying it's the same bad guy.
That being
Weird.
that being said, a comic called Marcus and the Dead Planet sounds really cool.
Actually does. Shit.
Yeah. And it's
Anyway.
his adventures with Bob, because Bob isn't dead. Bob is just his buddy now.
Oh yeah, he
Aw.
like kills Bob and then makes a fucking worm undead bullshit Bob.
Yeah, makes an intelligent undead worm Bob,
That they
and then
Oh, I love
Unbob
it.
is like his buddy.
You know what
I
that
love
is?
it. I love this.
That's desert power.
Yeah. The desert power was the friends you made along the way.
I didn't say it last night, Kenny, so I said it just
I
this
literally
once, and now I'm
told you
done.
earlier that like every time you guys do that, it kills a part of my soul.
Oh, that's like what happens when Marcus makes a lost soul every time. It kills a part of his soul.
Anyway, as far as we're concerned, anyway, as characters, we've saved the world, even if it's only for a day or a generation or two. So we do, of course, what you do in those situations, which is let the big Scottish Protean lead us to his favourite watering hole and get shit-faced on wine, or several of us do. Riz doesn't.
Nope, because I'm no longer evil. I also drink because I was evil.
Because alcohol is also evil.
Terrible.
No, it was more like their
Wow.
inhibitions were gone. They didn't have
Mhm.
they didn't worry about not having their mental state all there anymore. So they're like, fuck it,
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want.
Riz is just like, does someone have a weed?
If you want me to go out
Calling
and
the
scurry us some of
cops.
that black tar, black lotus, I'll see what I can do.
They probably would have
Where are
done
those?
it.
Where are those
Not gonna lie.
Kadali?
They probably would have done heroin.
I mean, Levette had the Muse lying around still, probably a few more tabs
Muse
of it.
is baby shit.
Yeah, you want the good stuff. You want the.
We do the black tar lotus.
Oh God. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about the next line, except that I've been waiting 66 sessions to use it, and had said to Beardy, I so want to use this spell.
Oh, that's right. The
Decolate is the name of the spell. And I had thought if there's the one chance I had to maybe use it legitimately would be like, hey, I killed Levette, so that's why we're okay in the steam aisle. Haha, it's a way
See,
of getting
here's
you
Levette's
back in.
head. Haha, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be that kind of situation.
As it's
Or if we needed
screaming
to-
in your hand.
Yeah.
that's how you
Let
know
me
it's real.
go! Let me go!
So that was the like legitimate use, but since that never came up and it wasn't necessary to bullshit our way back into the steam aisle, it was just Kurla's
Just a
one
party trick.
drunken party trick now that they're more comfy being silly, a little tiny bit less stick up the arse. It's, hey, I can remove my own fucking head.
The detachable kid over here.
Mhm.
I thank you for indulging me. I wanted to use it before the campaign was out. Just once.
I mean, technically, we can use our spells whenever we want. I might
That'll be
kill
their
so
party
many
trick.
people.
Oh God, that'll be their party trick then whenever they get horribly drunk at their healing school, but we'll get to that. Because there was an even nicer moment, which was, as Beardy mentioned, a callback to way the hell at the beginning of campaign 1, with the cigars.
That we stole from the past.
That's true.
Mhm,
That's how
mhm.
metal we are.
Yeah.
If only we still had the pterodactyl romance novels.
Sorry.
Yeah.
you
I
had
think
to
that's
ride
the-
a dragon with him.
I think that's the
Taken by the
biggest loss
pterodactyl.
that we've had.
Not Marcus dying to lava or slash a blade from Hildy.
No,
No.
pterodactyl romance novel.
I mean, I still think it's funny because I was still learning about, like, all things TTRPG. And I was just like, do dragons like money? I'm like, oh God,
Bless.
sweet summer child Keni, you had no idea what you were doing that entire season.
You bribe the dragon with money, booze, drugs, and porn, if I'm,
I'm
not
pretty
mistaken.
sure the money was
Yes.
the only important part.
You like
You don't know
not to
them.
me.
Somewhere in
They
Adrian,
completed their collection.
this dragon is
Porn.
in his little cave with this horribly, dog-eared, mangled copy of the book that's got some questionable stains on it too, and less said there the better, perhaps.
No. That was the one book that was missing from their collection. Now it's complete.
Jesus Christ, I don't want to do
I mean,
this anymore.
yeah, that-
Dragons are hoarders. Maybe that one hoards questionable literature.
That novel was lost in the war,
Yeah.
and we brought it back.
Yeah, it was considered like a lost
And now it's
volume.
lost
and they're
again.
It's priceless.
like, yeah,
You know how much we could have sold that for?
it's true. It could have financed the whole campaign.
Screw that one painting that we had to sell in Kodre. No, it was the porn book that would have brought in
Yeah.
the 2
you guys,
billion
You guys
gold.
never had it properly appraised.
Because I
those-
thought it was non-canonical the entire time.
As I just can see Kenny dying.
But those cigars were delicious for about 4 seconds, and then less so.
Yeah, and then it was just like dust and ash, and it just like made you all vomit. It
I
was
could
wonderful.
hear like all the people in the bar going.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is that?
Meanwhile,
Who's smoking shit?
Is someone burning hair?
I was doing the mouth motions that you need to do in order to blow smoke rings, not realizing quite how fucking weird that looks on camera if you don't actually have a cigar. Because it's sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't look good, does it?
That'll do it.
Whoopsie. If
Try
I had
a
a
nurse
cigar
on
and
a
it was
teeth.
lit, that would
Someone clip
legitimately
that.
blow perfect smoke rings.
I
Signs of a
blowing,
misspent youth.
yeah, it looked like blowing
but-
something.
No,
Whoopsie
Skrewy.
daisy. Whoopsie daisy.
We're putting it in the ground and never speaking of it again.
Anyway, moving from that, we had a slightly less ridiculous moment, a very cool moment actually, that kind of ensured the future of one of the long-lasting threads and called back some of the first proselytizing that Vera did and that required Soul's assistance. But Vera, having grown a lot since then, having learned from
Having a
Soul and
mask.
come into their
Having a
own.
mask would be like plus 25.
Yeah. So
diplomacy.
what was the roll? A
Maybe-
54 on that check? I think
Maybe
it
I'm
was?
incorrect in this, but I feel like that is the highest skill check in the entire campaign.
Nice.
That was the highest result of any skill check of any character, and it came from Vera.
perfect.
And I feel like that is poetic.
Mhm.
and that's why
Right.
there's a bust of Vera in a different
Yeah.
campaign.
Yeah. So yeah, you get like I think it was a 53. Let me see if I find it here in the
53,
chat
56.
log.
But Xeno, yeah, how did you feel about that whole moment?
Oh, that was so nice to see. I didn't expect that high of a number. I don't
Was
get
that
to
off
see
a-
that often.
Was that a nat 20 as well with all the
Nope.
modifiers? Okay.
That was a 16.
Nice.
It was really
Oh,
high
sorry,
for
we were
you.
both wrong. It was a 52.
52.
Oh, okay.
But still, a 52 is I still think the highest result we've ever had.
It is up there at least.
Yeah. So it was beautiful. And yeah, it got a big ass crowd of people, and they were all in for starting a religion.
Yep. So we'll see what regions of the divided Proto have
Yeah.
have the hive in it.
But
It's
yeah,
all
I
well and good until there's like a schism in the church.
think-
Yeah.
yeah, right.
The Eastern Orthodox.
But I think at this
Milleferance.
point, like the concept of Milleferance being spread across like basically any major settlement is going to kind of be the norm in 40 years' time.
And there's two different sects of Milleferans. There's the typical Milleferans, and then there's the mercenary group, which is the siblings of the Lesser.
Hmm.
I will be curious to see how they got on with the Calyptran followers of Paleana and what happens there. But also the fact that you will have access to the druid circles if the Maleferans continue to be sort of heavily druids in their upper echelons.
Yeah,
true.
and there was we'll get into that in a little bit too. Sorry, that's
Also-
more than the 40 year stuff.
Also, writing proselytizing is like the worst word to spell. I hate it.
It's not
Yes.
great.
Right?
I don't really like how it sounds anyways. I'm like, it sounds kind of like
prostate?
prostate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
Prostitution.
this doesn't sound very good as a word. Let's get rid of
A little
it.
bit
It doesn't
poopy.
exist anymore.
Yeah,
Well,
let's
it's also
cancel
a
it.
bad thing you should do anyway, so don't
Yeah.
proselytize in real life.
True.
But we also had some moments over that kind of the drunken and cigar escapades, where I beg your pardon, Riz was talking to Levette about their plans for the future, and Levette was hoping that Riz would stick around a little bit longer because Levette still wanted Riz's help with some things. Overheard by Curler as well. Obviously we don't have Graham here, but thoughts on that, Kenny, with how that conversation played out?
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I was just like, damn, I just want to retire peacefully. Can't have it. Not allowed.
Vera also wanted to retire peacefully, but then Soul's like, I'm in undying pain. Everything you've done hasn't done nothing.
No, it's done something. It's just they got fucking wrecked by Glarv in the end.
Mhm.
Like,
No, I know.
oh, okay.
And their sense of time is all screwed up because
Oh, absolutely.
hasn't been
But-
10 years. It's been 5,
Yeah.
but you
Well,
don't.
you don't know how
Soul
fast
doesn't know.
the world they're on goes either.
True.
It's been like, I don't know, 20 years. They're probably
Yeah.
teenagers.
Time moves at different speeds based on your proximity to the middle of the egg, maybe. Who knows? Something like that.
Tomatoes.
Wha- Oh,
Potatoes.
Curler, overhearing that Riz was probably heading out in the morning, kind of shocked them into sobriety and rushing around to get something done that they wanted to get done before Riz took off. Because I think they had anticipated that everyone would be going their separate ways, and there were some things they wanted to take care of first. I had not planned on, going to Faustus's at all, but I thought, yeah, this is the only way that I can possibly get something done really quickly overnight if I drop his name and involve him. So Faustus turned up for some reason. But I liked what he was getting up to, the filthy bastard. And I liked that he was able to render assistance for what came up the next morning.
Mhm.
At breakfast, because we all got to spend at least one more night in the Vardo amongst the comfortable pillow-strewn room or the horrible dirt-floored, never-used bed or whatever Petravian's got going on in his.
That spell's like never gonna get used ever again.
Oh, tragic.
What? No, it just means Riz is living in their home. With Jiro in the same bed.
Yes, which
Oh.
is nice.
Mhm.
Fucking.
Definitely fucking. They're just not as vocal about it.
Or no one at least knows.
Yeah.
Now you just need a soundproofing spell for it.
I know.
No, the horse wants to hear.
We never did find out what the fuck
What
was
horse
up with
is.
the horse.
No,
That's
I'm
another
gonna
question
save
for
it
next session. Cool.
The next one. Yeah,
Okay,
one of the
alright.
questions is, what the fuck is horse?
Yes.
Yep.
I have an angry
Yep,
god.
yep.
I'm holding to that.
I have but 2 regrets from the finale. Maybe
Yeah.
3. One of them is that I did not get to have Jiro speak, which I was intending on having him speak at the end. Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll
Okay.
get the rest later.
Okay, dokie. What are your regrets?
Yeah, there we go. That's a good question.
We have our final night in the Varda, and then we join for breakfast the next morning, where there is some interesting conversation, some good-natured bantering, bickering, some back and forth.
I got
People.
looped into a fucking job with Levette. I just imagine Riz is out traveling with Jiro, just gets a call. Yeah, I'm in the middle of a fucking field and you want me to. Oh, you're coming here. Okay, I see some grass. Yeah, I can go fucking build up your dead girlfriend's soul. Yeah, fuck it. You got the money?
I mean,
Cool.
Isn't
Yeah,
that what friends are for?
At least Vera put most likely Levette to work helping repair Soul.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
No.
helps, because Petravian didn't.
That's true.
He's too busy banging Hummel.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
I'm so disgusted with all of that.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll,
I mean,
we'll get into that
this
as well
is-
in the whole 40 years
Yeah.
later thing.
Well, yeah, and I mean, look, I'm putting that squarely on the blame of that is entirely on Xeno. Like,
Maybe the
No.
start, but the end was definitely Skrewy's fault. He followed through. Yeah, like Xeno started the incision and was like, "Here, Skrewy, you could either stitch it up or you could make the cut longer." And Skrewy was like, "Longer."
Let me open it up more with this claw hammer.
Like I gave Petravian the knife, but he went to the orphanage. All right.
Oh my god, that's a horrible
I
image.
mean, it is true.
I gave him the map too, but
Jeez.
it's
You
okay.
teed it up for him and he just sort of...
Look, I'm just saying some of us have
Sports
better
analogy.
self-control.
Some of us use our contraceptive spells more effectively. Or
Or at all.
I was glad I was able to get in a couple of other things that were kind of important to me. One was returning the honey to Vera, it was fascinating that Vera didn't want to accept it.
It's a gift from their sister to you.
Well, at the same time though, it was like when you leave the company of the hive, you return the power that was lent to you. That's where it's like they're both trying to
I
respect each other
imagine,
into disrespect. It's kind of interesting.
at least at the end of like Riz's years, they like went to each person before like not Riz's years, just Riz's mortal years, I'd say, after Jiro probably passed on. They would probably go to like each person if they were still around and be like, "Hey, I'm leaving." Then they'd probably drop off the staff with Vera and be like, "I obviously don't need this anymore. I'm an eternal being. Pass this on to someone who you think is worthy."
And I'm over here in Amber like,
yeah.
Petravian. Pass
I
this
would've-
on to someone who is worthy.
I was strongly wanting to pass off the knife to Petravian or to Reduvi actually, but that we'll see. The other thing though was I wanted to get the coin to
He
To Riz,
probably
'cause I thought-
never used it, unfortunately.
That's fair, but thematically appropriate because Riz and money, but also Fortune's favor. You brought us together. That was the name and the logo, and it was just a lingering thing that hey, if you needed Kurla at any point, Kurla would be there for you, which I thought was important to emphasize and literally make possible.
Jiro's gonna die before all you guys, probably.
And the other
If
thing
he's a
I wanted.
human, he's probably in his like late 30s, I'm guessing, if not 40s.
The other thing, of course, was the location of Sade. Thought that was
I was so
important.
happy with that. I was like, "Oh, good. I was gonna go look for him. That's nice."
I
He's
thought that
here.
would please you as a player, and I thought that was going to be a very kind of curler Riz thing to do as well. So I'm glad that you enjoyed that. I'm glad you appreciated it. And now you have another journey to go on because it's not a very specific location. You're going to have to scour the deserts and avoid the dragon.
Yeah.
I hope that Riz finds you.
Me too. And I'll ask Beardy in the next checkpoint
Nice.
if I ever find him.
Well, do we want to touch at all else on that breakfast, or shall we go to the time skip?
I'm
the
good with the
40
time skip.
years.
I'm good with the time skip.
Well, Beardy, you want to set the stage for the time skip? I mean, you've done it once. You want to do it
40
again in
years
like
later.
30 seconds?
Yeah, so basically the game campaign 1 ends in the year 768. Campaign 2 is going to start about 40 years later, and I wanted to kind of set the major events and changes that happen in the setting between those 2 points in time. So I read out, what happens to the individual people. Like, I started with NPCs, then I moved to PCs, then I moved to like nations and major political changes and upheavals, and that's kind of the order I went through, and covered how things have altered in time based on your guys' actions. So that's basically it.
How did we all feel about what we learned in that 40-year segment in terms of where our characters ended up and in terms of where some of the nation states and the political and religious balances ended up?
Yeah. There was a lot of really fun. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. I'm really interested in the northern territories. The territories of the north. I'm actually
Sure.
really interested in that.
They're all breaking up, and
I kind of liked that it was reminiscent of the beginning of the campaign, because the idea was that it used to be a place where only adventurers would go and scour the land for treasures, and now the land itself is a treasure for the common people. So
poetry,
It rhymes.
storytelling.
that's the idea, right? It comes full circle.
Well, Xeno, what did you make of the expansion of the hive after?
Oh, I'm
all
very happy that the hive's doing well currently, as that's my baby.
It's a major player now in the religions of the world, and apparently you're getting on better with the Edenites now as well.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm so happy.
I feel like they finally turned a better leaf, because like I said, it was up in the air what direction the hive was gonna go throughout the entire campaign.
Yeah, and it always had been. Like, that was kind of the reason why they'd been quashed so many times in the past, is because they can go one of two ways, and they kept going the way that kept getting them enemies.
Yeah, so I feel like the what is it? The siblings of the lesser are kind of the mercenaries of the people in a way, where they're for hire. The Melliferanes aren't going around just willy-nilly killing people anymore. They're
anymore.
they're now actually taking part in civil uprisings and helping people in that sense.
More legitimate powered struggles. Yeah.
And I love the fact that it was Petravian whose influence on Mellifera caused Mellifera to go to the Grove and kind of connect with the Edenites. That was cool. So fulfilling purpose as the bridge.
Yeah. That really I was concerned that it wasn't going to be it wasn't going to make big enough impact, and they wouldn't reconnect, and he would have failed. That was actually a genuine concern of mine.
No, he made it. He made good, and he grew the beard. I mean,
took some years, but it worked out.
If you've seen TNG, you know that the character improves dramatically when they grow the beard. So,
oh yeah,
Or just
now
any
he
Star
can
Trek
do
in general.
he can do that the over the chair sit,
oh my god, I am imagining
the
Petra doing
Riker
that
maneuver.
now. Something else interesting happened. Well, a couple of other interesting things happened with Petra, because Petra and Hummel paired off, and then Xeno, Skrewy, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, first of all, I kind of regret saying that Hummel said yes to marriage. Because I feel like it's not what Hummel would do.
But it's okay. You couch that in it just being like, oh, by the way, Hummel's just a terrible
Serial
cheater.
cheater.
Just a constant cheater.
In fairness, ethical non-monogamy is a thing. Would
Not
Petravian
with
be all right
Hummel.
with that?
No.
Okay, so
Hummel doesn't really get that kind of connection with people. That
Yeah.
commitment is not something Hummel has.
Yeah, I don't think that Hummel's gonna be practicing ethical non-monogamy.
Hummel like hot guys.
Yeah.
100%.
Well,
Yeah.
then I feel a little bit bad for Petravian.
Oh yeah, he's barking up the wrong tree.
Unrequited
Fucks over his friend in the
affections.
meantime.
Well, fucks over and fucks his friend in the meantime.
Speaking of which, we did do some rolls
Oh no.
Yeah.
at the end.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Please tell us, Xeno.
So, how do we put this? Oh yeah, Vera had a kid. So,
Yeah, shocker.
Petravian's kid.
this is for the Petravian character assassination.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you made the knife wound and offered him the option to stitch it up or to cut a longer wound.
I offered, hey, you can use a ring as a prophylactic, and Skrewy said no.
Nah.
We don't need it.
I don't believe in that kind of nonsense.
That's against my religion.
It
It
doesn't-
has to be fruitful.
It doesn't feel the same if I use the ring.
No,
Uh,
Oh.
that's
my
a
God.
little visceral. No.
So now there will be a character who is going to have exceptionally horrible mother issues.
yeah,
Oh dear.
Going to be rough for them.
yeah.
But
very
probably,
bad
in
mommy
fairness,
issues.
quite a loving father.
Oh, definitely.
But that's not the attention she wants.
True.
No.
She'll have a fantastic pet elk, though. Again, not the attention she wants.
Hmm.
Maybe a few pet elks.
That's true.
Where would our characters be without some horrible, tragic backstory?
True.
They wouldn't exist.
There we go.
Well, there are plenty that don't have tragic backstories, and then Beardy gets to destroy them emotionally through a campaign.
It's
Which
my
I think-
job.
I think
Thank
it's going to be
you.
my approach in the future. I've done the tragic backstory getting better. Now I want the starting good and
And-
getting horribly destroyed.
Yeah, you want the Levette treatment.
Yeah, speaking of which, although actually, no, we should talk a little bit because that connects with it. You mentioned earlier, Kenny, where Riz and Jiro traveling around, but Riz kind of being on call a little bit with helping out Levette, and
Yeah.
putting back together bits and pieces of souls and helping with that device. But hopefully, most of your time, most of Riz's time, got to be spent hanging around and traveling and seeing stuff with Jiro and seeing the world through new eyes as a couple.
I think that was the only logical thing for Riz to do until they returned to Thess. So, I don't think I was ever surprised because I was like, "Yep, that's what I'm gonna do."
They got a happy ending.
That's what Riz is. They're just like a simple person who wants simple things in the end. To travel, see things, meet people. Get married, I guess, now.
Mhm.
Kill a few people for the gods.
Yeah. Like,
And just
re-bond with people and be like, guys, I remember. And the gardener's over here with the money stack and be like, I'm so happy. I
Yeah.
knew I was, you were good.
What kind of money do gods use?
I don't know, fucking Lotus.
Nice.
Jesus. Well, Graham is unfortunately not here to talk about the future of Levette and fixing up Moira and her mother's souls and what happened with Archie and the robots,
Mark II.
the automatons, after the mother device was created and entered. But Beardy, can you speak a little bit about how all of that played out?
sure. So
The vets?
in the intervening years, Levette lived out the remaining probably 8 to 10 years of her life building, perfecting the device, building, trying to figure out how to both fix her mom completely and also to resurrect Moira correctly. And then eventually, when that was all done, going into the mother device and restoring Archie's soul, fixing the Levette Documachina and giving it a proper soul as well, and then going on to create a whole ton of new beings, these new critters that call themselves vets, that eventually take the mother device and they all relocate themselves somewhere secret, and then now they've made diplomatic contact with the world as being like, hey, we exist, we want to be part of the world.
That, to me, feels as much like it feels like the happiest ending that Levette could have had, given all of the shit that they went through. That they were
Yeah.
able to ameliorate some of their mistakes, and also to create something, to genuinely create something new and
Mhm.
bring it into the world and bring it life as they'd always kind of wanted to do. It brought their character a lot of closure, I think. So I hope Graham was very satisfied with that. It seemed like he was.
Other
hope
than
so.
the fact that he wanted to play God a little more, I think.
I see a
Well,
heart from Graham in the
Graham.
chat. So hey, Graham,
Hey.
and
Miss you.
yay!
Hey, Graham.
Hey,
Glad
buddy.
you're here. Love the vets, Graham says. So
Aw.
yay!
I did I guess since Graham didn't mention it at all, did they try to get Mark II fixed, or no? Or is that
I don't know.
Ask
I guess we
me
have
for-
to.
Ask me at the end of the checkpoint.
Yeah.
At the next one for the campaign ending.
okay?
I don't know. Vera went over there and killed Mark II like right after the Marcus battle.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I
Immediately
have to
tied up
wonder
that
if-
loose end immediately. Nope, can't have you.
I have to wonder
Yeah.
if Zell's kids were like, our father fucking hated you because you're just wearing his dead friend's skin suit, so we're killing you now. Bad things could have happened to Mark too, but I think Graham may have said absolutely in that they would have, Levette would have helped Mark too, so I guess we'll find out.
Absolutely would have hunted down and killed Mark II, you mean?
That's
Yeah.
what I heard.
I agree.
Oh dear. Some differing
of deer.
opinions on this. Ah.
But Kurla got to make a healing school, and I am curious. Did Kurla ever like stay in Presidium, or do you think they stayed more to focus on that school and help bring more healers into the world?
I think they commuted.
Mhm. Yeah.
There was some stuff that Beardy and I discussed off screen that would have permitted a pretty easy commute for Kurla to really anywhere they wanted to be. So they would have certainly spent a lot of time at Presidium. I think that they would have become friends, quite good friends with Karis. I don't think it would have gone anywhere like romantically or anything of that nature, because it's not who Kurla is, and I don't think it's who Karis is per se. But they would have become
I think she's straight.
yeah, they would have become good friends, I think, and Kurla would have benefited from being around the kids, and I think that would have helped them in teaching this healing. Because I think they would have been a decent. They would have been gruff and grumpy. Maybe the edges would have got filed off them a little bit more, but they would have also had a lot to teach, and they've always been more. They've always been better with kids. They've always been a lot more patient and caring. I think they would be a very good teacher.
Speaking of kids, what are your guys' thoughts on their end card?
Could I
spiel?
say one more
Oh.
thing though?
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to also say the same.
Okay.
Based on the other thing first.
Just the healing school and the fact that there was a statue of Verla like broke me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You
yeah,
cried.
quite
You
reaction.
cried.
They
Yeah,
cried, but
and-
yeah,
and-
I kind of did.
Yeah, and just know that if you ever go to the House of the Moon in Ville in the next campaign, there's going to be a very grumpy headmaster there that is a very elderly half-orc. So
Nice.
That makes me
Cool.
so fucking happy, Beardy. You have no idea. Grumpy, but you know what? Effective. I think they would have a
Yeah.
lot to teach. I think that they would churn out a lot of very good healers, and they would be doing some good things in Verla's name and in Valuna's name.
Mhm.
Yes, the twin.
The
Yeah.
twins, yes, very important.
What about them twins?
What are you guys' thoughts on that one?
Just kind of ghosted Karis
Concern.
for world domination.
Also, they're
Yeah.
young adults now.
Yeah, I mean, they stayed there for probably 30 more years, 20 something, 30 years ish. Like,
I like
leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back, but then eventually they're just like, they just never got around to coming back.
how neither Soul nor Vera knows how old the twins are.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little hard when you've never actually been, like, other than in the very first time you met them, you've never been connected to your kids.
Yeah.
Like, straight up adoption, no contact.
Mhm.
Kurla would have missed them because they would have spent a lot of time with them over those years. I, as a player, am very concerned in that there is that prophecy that may or may not pertain to those two about one of them saving the universe and the other destroying it, something along those lines.
Gosh, that's interesting. One could almost make a campaign about such a prophecy. That'd be
Yeah.
odd. Huh.
Hmm. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Anyway.
That's why
Anyway,
I'm-
Proto's
soon.
fucked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Proto's super fucked.
Good.
Proto's
I'll
fucked,
say it every
Villa's
time.
altered forever.
But now the elks run. You can have an elk mount.
I know everyone
Yeah.
died, but deer.
But yeah, now you can ride around a deer. Ooh.
People
the
die
important-
every day.
Yeah, it's very
So-
very Petravian
Oh
of
my
you.
God.
So it did actually do more good than harm because despite all of the deaths and the losses and the tragedies, now people can ride elk like Petravian.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
It's all worth it. All the
We're
death and destruction and
heroes.
political strife and loss of stability and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of deaths.
Wow.
Totally worth it because now I can go and I can ride an animal that goes. "Meh." It's
Or
perfect.
plew, depending on where they ended up. But
We'll
There
find
wa-
that out later.
we will.
Yeah.
There was another bit that pertaining to the shake-ups in the political atmosphere and some of the locations, and I want to ask you about it, Xeno, and also Beardy. The fate of the Pentris estates.
Yeah, now it is Pentris, is that correct? Is that what it's called
Yeah,
now?
so it was called the Pinterest Estates, and now it is simply called Pinterest.
Pentress.
Yeah.
All right.
Pinterest.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And yeah, and Pinterest is now just it's kind of a stronghold of workers' rights and ideals and union power and also melliferanism. Over time it has grown to become the largest hive outside of the primary one.
No shit.
It's very
Yeah.
surprising.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a massive melliferan stronghold.
Your mom cared. Yay!
Yeah.
I like that they ended up with that still strained, but I'm glad that they did form some sort of relationship there.
Mhm.
That's-
It's true.
That seems realistic. Like they didn't become buddy. I'm sorry. Speak. It's your thing.
Oh, yeah, because Taily cares. Taily cares about Vera,
Mhm.
but yeah, obviously there is that disconnect. But they do have the Vera's father to connect over, and also obviously, if she's doing all of this for the common man, like for workers' rights and all that, obviously that's going to speak to Vera a lot more than any kind of apology that Taily could say.
Mhm.
Question for you, Beardy.
Yeah.
So Taele was very involved in the Pentris estates becoming Pentris.
Yeah.
Melliferanism took off there.
Yeah.
Did Taele join the hive?
I'm not prepared to answer that question.
All right then.
She doesn't know if she's gonna live a while.
Well, is there anything else we want to talk about the 40 years later, or shall we zoom through the amazing, wonderful... I can't say any of that. Through the adequate... Oh, I don't know how to put it. I'm going to say
What
it
are
was
we talking
lovely
about?
closing credits artwork for everything.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah, the closing credit artwork. Yep.
That was
Anyway.
months of preparation for all that artwork, and then months of preparation for all the end artwork.
Yeah.
I'm tired, and I don't want to draw no more.
Yeah. Kenny's on break.
I'm on break
was
right
all
now.
It was all much appreciated. You've definitely earned a rest. It really brought a special atmosphere to the whole
Mhm.
event. But it was not where things concluded, because we had a bit of a stinger
That's true.
after that.
Thank you.
Oh dear. Beardy.
Yeah. Yeah. What about it? What about that
Fucking
stinger?
Burr!
Or the stinger. Yeah.
Burr.
Oh, Burr. Oh, I mean.
Burr
just
the
a
abandoned.
that's all.
Blindside! Oh my fucking god!
Yeah.
How
I
long?
mean,
How long had you planned him to be in here?
for the whole thing.
Oh my
That's-
god! The
when-
whole
when-
time?
Yeah. Ever since he got eaten
Oh,
by Glarf,
time.
like
Oh
that
my
was where he was
God.
gonna be. Yeah.
Long
Yeah,
game.
I had that
Playing the
ready
long
for a
game.
while. Like.
Oh my god!
And the idea was that like existing outside of the egg has kind of changed him into like this sort of shadow of a dragon. So and it's hard to kind of like hold your form outside of the egg because like it's sort of non-space. It's sort of a non-existent kind of area. So you're more of like a collection of like emotion and thought than you are of like physical beings at that point. So he's kind of warbly and shaky and is like, imagine like those cartoons from the 90s where they were like Dr. Katz. Is that one from the ancient days? Oh gosh.
Even I don't know
Okay,
that one.
how about like early season Simpsons? How about that? Where every frame is drawn slightly differently, so when you animate it, they kind of look warbly.
Oh, I think that's what is that called?
Rotoscoping?
Line burn.
Oh, line bird. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of what he looks like at this point, because like he doesn't have a physical form anymore, and he's mostly just held together by his thoughts and intentions and emotions. So he's kind of a living shadow.
Which episode of season 1 was it? And for folks who don't know, who weren't around for season 1, Glove was an ally, a dragon ally of the party for...
Nope, that was
Beg your
Burr.
pardon. Burr was a dragon ally of the party for some time as they were fighting one of the big bad evils of the season, Glarv. What episode was it that he was consumed by Glarv?
Give me a
Was
second.
The
Near the
Fissure
end.
Temple?
It was the fissure episode.
The Fissure Temple. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was recorded. I'm just looking at this.
63.
Yeah.
10th of October 2020. So you've been sitting on it for a good 2 1/3 years.
Probably, yeah.
Nice.
That's reasonable. I feel like that's not too long.
No, I just think it's cool that
But yeah, no, it's finally get to reveal that's where Burr has been this whole time, and that now he serves some new master that has a plan to take over everything. And
what
then
the fuck is this bitch?
and then ominously, like, the camera pans around and you see the cosmic egg in which everything is inside, Adrian included. So whoever this villain is, they are outside of the egg. And if you realize, like, the gods and everything, all of existence and everything you guys have ever dealt with has been inside this cosmic sphere that you've all been in. So whatever this entity is, it's outside of all that. So that's fun.
outside of reality, outside of creation.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a
Yeah.
mind bender.
So
What could possibly go wrong?
right? This is going to be great. I'm sure that this person has, nothing but good intentions for everybody, right?
And I'm so
Phenomenally
glad that we're all,
good,
gonna
positive
Be,
intentions.
My poor boy.
I'm so glad that we're all going to be like level, 3 characters again, because we'll certainly
Yeah.
be equipped to
I'm
deal with
so
this threat.
excited for
Ah.
the next campaign so much. I love the sweet boy I've come up with.
Yeah.
And we've done a few kind of role playing sessions, just Keni, myself, Beardy, and also a little bit with Grem.
Yeah.
Like, just going back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
I'm super excited for this next campaign.
I
Yeah.
feel like the dynamic of that party is going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be. I'll say, it should start as well. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm
Don't
not
do
gonna
it.
say anything. I'm just gonna let it
Let it
all
simmer.
hang.
Go do it.
Let it simmer.
Wow.
I'm gonna let it
In-
simmer. I'm gonna let it all hang.
In prepping for that next campaign, just looking back though at this one, and we'll talk about it again in the next checkpoint in a couple of weeks, but the morning after this finale to the campaign, this final episode, how are we feeling about how the campaign went the last 4 years for y'all and the last 2 years for me? Has it sunk in yet?
I mean,
I'm
I
glad
guess I'm
it's-
just like, I'm excited to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't
I'm-
really end. It's just a different person I inhabit.
I, for one, am glad that it's over. Because I'll make no bones about it. I think that the game is best at lower levels, just from like a story stance, because I have a lot more tools in my toolbox of things I can do with the group. Like, there's a lot more scenarios I can put you guys in that are more interesting because you have limitations on you,
Well,
right?
we can't
And it's
all
the
fly-
limitations on your actions that make interesting situations and scenarios. Because like by the end of the campaign, you're just like, well, I guess we need to go somewhere, so we'll just like immediately go there. We'll kill the King of the Giants in 10 seconds. And it's like, that would have been like a major thing if you guys were lower levels. It would have been like, okay, we got to go somewhere. We got to fight a dude. We got
We're
to
absolute monsters.
There would have been so much more like planning and things involved. And at late game, you're just like, let's just go like topple a kingdom in like 30 seconds. Okay.
I can bring back the dead.
Cause a political shift.
Yeah, and it's like
Sure.
it's so much different as far as like pacing goes, and I think that and also game mechanics wise, the game works better between levels 1 and 10, and I think that's true in most TTRPGs that use the level 10 to 20 system like D&D 3, 5, and beyond. I just think that the game works better at a certain range of levels than it does at higher levels. So I'm super excited for you guys to be able to fight something like a bear and have that be scary.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't have to send gods after you anymore all the time.
Well, I guess that's it for this session, unless anyone else has anything to add.
We'll ask that question at the campaign checkpoint. Pom, let me write that down.
Yeah, we'll put that on the list. And we'll get into that. And that one, just in case it hasn't been said, that one is a full like cards on the table. Like anything that is not pertinent to future stuff, I am happy to answer any question at that point. So I hope.
What the fuck happened to Plu?
What
That
are
was a question for it.
What are Karis's top 3 cheeses?
Ooh, okay, top cheese. I know the number one, obviously, is Gorman Bear, and it's like, oh my god, if you have like a good Gorman Bear, like you may as well just like put everything else you have to do that day aside. You're like, no, today is me and this wheel of cheese. That is all I need to do today.
Please tell me
This
Havarti is
wheel.
in there somewhere.
Gosh, what else would it be after that? So
Havarti.
I don't know. I don't know about Havarti.
Just straight up string cheese.
just garbage cheese.
American.
I mean, look, to be fair, Karis probably has some pretty shitty taste in cheese because realize, one, she spent her early life in the alleys of a city, and then she spent her young life in a cell in a sewer. So, like, she doesn't really have a whole lot of understanding of, like, what is and isn't good food. And then she got thrust into, like, uber wealth in Presidium. So suddenly she went from having, like, nothing to having literally anything she could want. And it's just, like, at this point, just cheese is good, I think, at that. She's just like, I like cheese. Sure.
That's valid.
Nah. Yeah. So, like, she's... I don't know if she has a top 3 cheeses. She's probably just still in like the I like cheese. Like
Bless.
I wish I could have had this earlier in my life.
Oh, Pom says she likes that rat trap quality of cheese.
Yeah, it's the only cheese she would have had access to is like cheese that rat catchers would have baited traps with that the
moldy cheddar.
that the Owen cultists would have like gotten out of the rat traps and be like, oh, we can feed this to our captives.
Ooh. Oh, Karis.
Moldy cheddar.
Poor Karis.
Yeah, just like ruined bits of cheddar. Yeah. Or even worse, Swiss. The worst of all cheeses.
On that note,
It's pretty shitty, don't get me wrong.
It's pretty
yeah,
shitty.
that's fair
I
point.
mean, Cold American is pretty god.
Cold American's pretty bad, but at least it doesn't taste like feet, like Swiss does.
But if you melt the Swiss, it's pretty good on some things.
Melted Swiss does take on a different flavor profile, and it's weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a conversation for another day.
Cough, proper English cheddar from cheddar, cough. But anyway, shall we sign off for now? See you all again in a couple of weeks?
Yep.
We
See you
are
in 13
taking a
days.
week off, but we will see you. Let me get the calendar up. We will see you on the 4th.
Yep.
At our regular time for where we would play game. So 8 p.m. Central Time will be our campaign checkpoint. So if any of you want to enter in some questions, I'll be sure to have them ready to ask Beardy. And this can also be for the players too. If you have anything of like, why did this character do this? Totally fine. Very excited to see
What was
you
up
guys
with
have.
that sea monster that was following your boat?
It's in my list. It's in my list.
Who the fuck is Detlev?
I don't think we're going to get that answer.
No,
But
never.
Thank you all so much for coming here today. We will see you in a couple of weeks, and we hope to roll with you guys soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks all. Bye.
Bye.
For initiative.